Hey, what's going on to the Dragoncast episode 31? My name is Brian Daniels, and I'm here with my podcasting partner in crime, Victor Salazar. What's up, Victor? How you doing today, man?
Hey, what's going on, Brian? I'm very excited that we are now live on the PopCon virtual convention. It's pretty damn exciting. I'm like, hey, let's go, man.
I'm excited too. Yeah, man.
We got
a
some
very
conversations
special
to have.
guest with us today. We got Mr. Jeremy King. Yeah, man. We got Jeremy King here live with us on the show. He plays Rad Chad. What's up, Jeremy?
Hi, how are you? I'm excited. You keep freezing, Brian. You like the shirt?
We are doing fantastic here today.
You know what it is? Brian's trying to keep it cool because I'm scorching hot right now. It's about 100 degrees out here right now, and I'm like, whoa.
You should film inside. Now.
Right inside. It's at 100 degrees. I live in the high desert in California, and that weather is just out there right now.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm in Florida, so we not only have the heat, we have the humidity too.
There you go. No, I get the dry heat.
California, it's a dry heat. It's a dry heat.
Definitely. So Brian, you back? You good?
Oh man, yeah. I'm in southern Indiana, and it's a little hot.
We're losing Brian again.
I think we lost him again. It's all right.
We heard nothing you said, Brian. He's on AOL dial-up.
You guys losing me here?
Yeah. Having technical difficulties, it seems.
Oh no. No, can you guys
I can semi-hear you, but you're definitely not moving.
Having some technical. We're not used to using StreamYard. Obviously, you can tell.
Yeah, it's definitely a different program for us. So
hold on. 1 second. Oh man.
Oh, Brian, if you need to disconnect and reconnect.
Yes. Let me.
That's totally fine. I can hang out here with Jeremy and Victor. If it makes you feel any better, yesterday when the Kind of Nerdy Girls podcast was on was when the storms went through, and I lost my power, but my co-host did not. So at one point they were the only thing going during the virtual.
Wow.
Wow. I'm glad I didn't lose everybody. I don't know if I could entertain by myself.
You have to start pulling out. That's when we start pulling out the juggling act, and you start doing some pretty weird stuff just to keep things going, huh?
So where are you two located right now?
I am in Florida.
You're in Florida,
California,
outside of Tampa. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yep. And then Brian in southern Indiana. We'll see if he can hop back in here. So Victor, why don't you tell us, while we're waiting for Brian, sort of intro to what your podcast is all about, how often it's on, and all the places we can find it.
Sounds good. We are co-hosting the Dragoncast podcast. You can find us pretty much on most social media websites. We have a Twitter page. We have YouTube. We're part of the DragonBlogger team. That website does everything from entertainment to technology to gaming. A great place, a nice little hub to be able to just go in there and see what's going on in the world of tech.
Do you guys talk about dragons ever?
You know what? That's one of the things that we need to bring up a little more. We have the dragon logos.
Dragon names.
You know what?
Talk about dragons more.
I wouldn't doubt it if Game of Thrones.
Just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there.
Game of Thrones is out there somewhere. I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure someone covered that. But it's definitely a blog that's been around for the better part of 10+ years now, and it's definitely evolved and grown to cover most things entertainment and tech. So it's a great hub for us is to start this podcast and just expand on that. So it's definitely a big step up for us to be able to do virtual con like PopCon, You know what? It's funny. I want to start talking about this movie, man, and I want Brian back on here. But
why is Brian going to ruin everything?
Oh, Brian.
Oh, Brian.
It's funny because
better co-hosts.
It's funny because Brian had been recommending Scare Package to me for quite some time now. And I got around to watching it earlier this week, and I rewatched it last night at about 11 p.m. So I went to bed pretty close to 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, let me just get a refresher. I want to make sure we were good on this movie. But I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of comments on it. Definitely want my guy Brian here on it so we can go ahead and jump right into it. But I'm hoping he can connect pretty soon. It seemed like a very fun movie to make. Fun.
Oh man,
lots of fun.
It was an absolute blast. It was an absolute blast. I worked with Paper Street Pictures is the one that produced it. The director Aaron Kuntz was kind of the head of, producing all the segments and bringing all the different directors. And I've been working with them since 2003.
Gee.
Yeah.
That's cool though, man. You know what? Yeah. I've always found out that when you have a nice, I should say a core group of people that you've been working with for an extended period of time, it doesn't even feel like work sometimes, it's just, it flows, and things are just great. And I think we have that rapport here with Brian, where I've been working with him for so long that it's just, it doesn't even feel like work. But the 7 directors,
we should be talking smack about Brian right now since he's not connected. What Brian? You know what he's really like behind the scenes? The worst.
When the camera is off and the mic is off, it's a different guy. No, Brian's great, man. Brian's amazing. But you know what? I guess you can fill him in once he jumps back on. So 7 directors, 7 different segments of the movie, which I thought was wonderful because it gave a little insight of the narrative of the movie within the movie with what they watched to entertain themselves. And I thought it was great. Can you speak in regards to those segments? Were you involved in any way, shape, or form on the creative process of that, or is that someone that came directly from those directors and they put in their 2 cents in there?
Well, so each segment came from each of those directors. So I had no idea. Like the first time I saw it, I saw like a rough cut over at one of the producers, Alex's house, and I mean, it just blew me away. It was so refreshing to be able to sit there and just enjoy it, the way I did. I mean, all the different segments. I mean, the directors absolutely killed it, man. Like Chris McEnroy with One Time in the Woods, Anthony Cousins with The Night He Came Back Again, Emily Higgins with Cold Open, Night Out of Body, Mr. So Much to Do. It was just like, so refreshing to just sit back and enjoy it. And we actually premiered in Sitges in Spain, and that was just an absolutely amazing experience. I kind of decided to go at the last minute, and it was really cool to see. I mean, they have like rabid horror fans over there, and to kind of just sit there, incognito in the theater with everybody. And in the second viewing, there was actually a lady behind us that kept laughing. She's just like laughing hysterically. She goes, I love this. I loved it. Like 20 times throughout the thing. So it was really cool to see, but everybody knocked it out of the park. And we actually filmed, I was trying to think, we filmed the final segment first. And then when everybody wrapped up on their individual segments, we went back and filmed the wraparound, because obviously they couldn't, write the wraparound until they understood what each short segment was about. And so it was a really cool experience.
That's a good way of doing it, actually, having all the segments done. And then you guys put in that filler, which, it seemed to tie pretty seamlessly with what's going on and how they enter the videos and you start watching the next part.
Yeah,
but Brian, did. You good? You back?
It's good to see you, Brian.
Yeah, what's going on, y'all?
All right, cool, man.
I'm here. I finally made it.
So just to fill you in really quickly, I was just asking if if Jeremy had any creative input into the 7 different segments of the movie, plus the wraparound. Yeah. So then the individual directors had those had I guess free reign to do what they felt was best for the film. You had anything to add in regards to that?
I mean, just with our segments, it's funny.
So first off,
you're talking to Brian? Sorry.
You have to start pointing, huh? You start pointing. Brian. Jeremy. Yeah.
It's all good.
Sorry, Brian. Yes, Brian. Do you have anything to add in regards to the segments?
First off, I want to say, Jeremy, that was a fantastic film. I absolutely loved it. It's really great because I actually used to be a manager of Blockbuster Video. So,
like I said, he's been recommending this movie for a very long time. Yeah.
Oh, I have. I've been telling as many people as possible to come check it out because it's an amazing comedy horror anthology. I love anthology films like Creep Show, things like that. And you did an amazing job. First off, kind of doing like the framing portion of the movie, which was fantastic. I definitely love the fact that you worked with Joe Bob Briggs, he's an amazing guy.
I love too.
I've had the pleasure of meeting with him. Yeah. I was gonna say, are you just as big of a fan of his?
I was a pretty big fan beforehand, but it had been so long, like when we first started talking about this, Aaron was bringing up. I mean, Joe Bob was the first choice for Aaron to bring into this, as kind of the savior. And when he first brought it up, I had to like refamiliarize myself with it, because I remembered watching it a long time ago. And then when we first started talking about the movie, he brought up Joe Bob. I started looking up stuff on the internet, and then I became a member of the Mutant Family on Facebook and stuff like that. And that's been an awesome experience too, just to see a group with so much passion and so much love for horror movies and stuff like that. So that's been really fun. That's probably one of my favorite things when I log on to kind of see the debates that go on within that group and the different, some of the films that you normally wouldn't see, that they bring to light.
It's great. The community is amazing. And that's one of the things that we like to bring to the forefront whenever we discuss anything with anybody.
Right.
Is, we touch base on many different genres of movies, entertainment, gaming, whatever the case may be. And each one has their own community, group of people that they just show this passion in regards to what they love. And again, horror films right here, or even if it's comedy horror films, you have a group of people that's just simply amazing, that it's like, hey, we have the same passion, and that community is just booming.
Yeah. So that's been one of the funnest parts. And then just on set talking to Joe Bob, man, he's just like an absolute wealth of knowledge as far as all that stuff. And so we had a really good time, especially with the I won't give it away, but the final scene while that was going on, we had a really good time with it. And the whole time he's calling me Brad and just kind of didn't like me very much.
It's hilarious, man. That movie is just so funny.
And then working with Dustin Rhodes too, I mean, the wrestler.
It's really funny. The one guy who plays the kind of the annoying customer. What's his name?
Byron.
Yeah, Byron.
Oh my God!
It's really funny that dude, that guy's a trip, man. What was it like?
I've never had like a experience like that where I was the one that had to keep a straight face. I mean, there were so many times that I broke down laughing just because between him and Han, like Han is amazingly funny. And just between him and Han, man, like I stuck around while they were filming their stuff that I wasn't in, just because it's some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen. Like, the Goldie Hawn line that he came up with, we were all dying. Like he had to do that because the director, the producers, like nobody could keep a straight face and stop from laughing when he was saying that to him.
No, this movie definitely just oozes. It oozes fun. It just seemed like it was a great time on set and off, it seems. But it's got its little lines in there that just takes you. You think you're gonna go this way because it's all horror tropes. Oh yeah, scary movies. This is what's going on. Then it takes a left turn here just to put a little spin on it. And it's a great film, man. You guys definitely gotta go check this out. It's different. It's unique, and those lines are just hilarious.
I recommend it.
Yeah, I second that.
I would hope you would recommend it.
I'm being paid to say that. Though.
Yeah.
Aaron, the director, is on my phone right now. No, I mean working with these guys has always been a blast, man. I was telling, I think Brian, you were trying to get your dial-up back in service, but I was telling him beforehand. I actually worked with Aaron and Cameron back in 2003 on a little short film called D-Grade. I played a bike cop, and it was funny. They were doing another short about, 7 or 8 years ago. And I mean, we hadn't seen each other in 10 or 11 years. They moved from Florida over to Austin, Texas, where they were working. And Cameron wrote me, a message on Facebook, and he said, "Hey man, I don't know if you'd be up for this, but we thought of you. We really enjoyed working with you, and we can't really give you much money, but we have a place for you to stay, and blah blah blah." And I wrote him back like this 2-page thing. I go, "Look, man, I'm a serious SAG actor now. I can't be doing these little piddly things, like 2 pages. And then at the end of it, I'm like, I'm just kidding, man. Of course, I'd love to come out." But that's kind of how we reconnected, and it really brought back my love for acting and because you get so caught up a lot of times in, where's my career going and what am I doing with my life, and
sure. Yeah. When
that happened, man, we had such a blast making it. It just brought back my love for just doing it, and so every time I can work with these guys is just an absolute joy. And I think you see that. I think you see that in everything they do,
Oh, no, absolutely. That whole movie front to back, I'm sure, was an absolute blast to work on, man. Like, it's taken 2 of my favorite genres and and putting them together. And you guys did a great job of that.
Bad comedy and horror.
It's amazing. I love it.
I want to know though, from here, do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a comedy actor? I mean, you're a really funny dude. I mean, no doubt about it. Like bits in the movie were great. Or do you think you could do? Do you see yourself doing a more serious role in a horror?
It's interesting because like even on set, like. Aaron's like, "Man, you keep getting hired for all these serious roles, dude." He goes, "People have no idea, man." He goes, "They have to see you in like comedic roles." And I've always loved comedy. Like I did a little bit of stand-up coming out of college. I've done a lot of improv, and comedy is probably my main, passion if I could spend time doing anything. Because, especially working with Aaron and Cameron and the whole Paper Street crew, because they'll take the script and like, I always joke when I get on set, I'm like, "There was a script for this?" Because just kind of, remember some of the things that you wrote in there,
Yeah, that's what makes it fun, man. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, so we'll do like 1 or 2 takes, sort of normal. And then he goes, "Hey, all right, dude, just rip it up. Like, do whatever you want."
See, that's great. It's great to have that kind of confidence in you, man. Like to just say, "Hey, just do your thing, man." We'll do it this way in case you suck this time, but let's do this. Just to give it a go. And I love that, man. I love that camaraderie. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the best thing about this was, like Aaron Kuntz, the director of this, is such an absolute fan of horror. Like, if you think Joe Bob knows a lot about horror, like Aaron, anything you bring up, like I made some like off the cuff joke in one of the scenes about like Halloween 3 or something like, and he goes, no, that's not actually correct because this happened and then this happened and then this was this. So that joke doesn't actually make sense. So we have to redo it. I mean, now
does he get into little tangents?
Everything does he get into about horror. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. His wealth of knowledge.
I was gonna say, does he get into little tangents like Joe Bob does? How like he'll talk about one thing. Like I remember, I think it was that week, but there was a couple weeks before you guys were on the last drive-in, and he was talking about Gillette razors, and I was like, "What the hell does this have to do with the movie we're about to like?" Do you ever
all the time?
Do you ever find Aaron doing that kind of stuff too all the time?
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, like a little thing, like, oh, well, the knife he used in this one actually was a different knife than he used in the first one because he got this knife from over here. You know, like he'll go back to 6 movies and then go forward to the second movie, and then, but you know, I think it really all oozes through when you watch this because, you know, there's been a lot of comments with, you know, reviews and stuff like that. Like, you know, you can tell it's not just a parody. It's actual, you can see the love of horror that comes through in everything that's done, you know, and even the other directors, I've gotten a chance to get to know them just through different film festivals. You know, we went out to Telluride, and I got to know Chris a lot, Chris McEnroy, who did One Time in the Woods, and Anthony Cousins that did The Night He Came Back Again Part 4. And those guys are the same way. I mean, it's just, they have this absolute love for horror, and like Chris especially, man, like if you watch any of the other shorts he's done, it's all in the same vein that One Time in the Woods was. It's just insanely, ridiculously funny horror, you know, disgusting bowels coming out everywhere. So yeah, I mean, it's what a great group of directors he put together here.
Oh yeah, and you got some of that coming out in those shorts as well, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I really look forward to seeing what all these different directors do after this. There's a few things they're working on right now that I probably can't talk about, but it'll be exciting to see whatever he does.
You know what? We didn't even give mention to what the movie was really about. So Scare Package, you know, in a couple of sentences without giving things away, what exactly is the movie about? You know,
you're gonna make me out there. I thought that was your job.
Brian. I mean, Brian's the expert here. Brian can go ahead and give the insight here.
So it's a comedy horror anthology, and if you don't know what an anthology movie is or never seen one before, this is absolutely the perfect film to go see an anthology, in my opinion, movie for the first time.
I agree.
Basically, it's a movie. It's a movie within a movie within a movie, and it just kind of goes down the rabbit hole from there. You basically have what's called a framing movie, which is what Mr. Rad Chad here is doing. This is the basically like the main plot, the glue that keeps it all together, if you will. And he has himself a video store. And I love the fact, by the way, that the logo for the video store looks just like the Last Drive-In logo.
That was on purpose.
I love all the references. I love all the references. And works at a video store. And it just the insanity and the hilarity goes from there. I don't want to give away any spoilers or
I give them all away.
I gave plenty of spoilers.
He's like, I'll give all the spoilers.
I'll give all the spoilers.
I wanted to ask Brian to give the synopsis. You know, Brian is our ex Blockbuster manager here, so I wanted to give him that spiel. Like, hey, let's see, why should I watch Scare Package? What you got for me? Let's see. And you know, Brian goes into his thing, and I love it, man. Love it.
Yeah, but definitely give it a watch. It's worth it. And you can go on Shudder, and you can still watch it on Shudder right now. So go to Shudder. Yeah. Give this movie a view. And I do recommend watching the Joe Bob Last Drive-In version, by the way, because like Jeremy just said, the man is a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And he
going into tangents,
he has all kinds of information.
Tangents.
Yeah. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge, man. The guy is amazing at what he knows. I've had the pleasure of meeting him myself. And especially if you're going to watch, in my opinion, if you're going to watch a movie, to find a Joe Bob Briggs version of it too, because once again, it's kind of like like pop-up video from VH1 like many years ago. It's kind of like that, but with him cutting in and giving you all sorts of fun and information and things like that about the movie.
You get to watch.
Probably would have never known about had just watched it. Yeah. But yeah, so definitely go check this movie out. It's definitely worth a view. I'm gonna watch it.
I've read a lot of the reviews, and you see it like a lot of the Easter eggs. But again, with Aaron, everything is an Easter egg. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many Easter eggs that haven't even talked about yet. It's absolutely
so references.
Yeah.
Any particular one that you thought was great, amazing, didn't know, or that you thought was
hilarious? Put me on the spot. I'm not gonna remember any of them. Well, we'll come back to that one.
We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
About like 2 weeks ago in the group, and I can't remember it right now. But I was gonna ask a trivia question and see who came up with the answer first.
I do have a good one for you, Jeremy. So you talked about working in retail. Have you had any like retail experience like that? Like
I have
for real, like that in real life.
Oh yeah.
Tell us. Do you have any horror stories from working in retail? Do you want to share with us?
Oh man, yeah. So I started. My first job ever was when I was 15 years old, working at Target. And
that was my first job.
Yeah. Okay. So I started out.
I used to work there too. So yeah.
Yeah. So I started out doing carts and doing cashier, but as the cart person, you were also responsible for maintaining the bathrooms. And man, there was one day I almost quit. Like the women's bathroom was backed up, and apparently they just kept using it. And I went in there, and the toilets had overflowed, and I mean, it was just like there was just poo and stuff all over the place. I mean, like, oh God, that's bad. Probably like an inch deep. So I had to mop it all up, clean it all up. I get done cleaning the whole mess up. I go to wheel the mop out, and the wheel gets stuck on the floor and freaking tips over. I remember just sitting there thinking, like, I had to be making like $4 an hour at the time, and that times when I question my life choices, like, what am I doing here, and why?
Wow!
Yeah. Oh my God, terrible!
Wow!
Yeah. So there was a lot of that.
That's bad, man.
Yeah, it was definitely
bad.
Luckily, when I was doing the Target job, I was also a cart pusher, but I never had to clean the bathroom. So that's
really.
I was like, whoa! I didn't. Yeah, I didn't have to do that. I did the cashier thing too, but I never stepped into the restroom to clean it up. You know.
I worked at Walmart, and I know all about bathrooms, but so it's.
I can imagine. I can only imagine how much work Walmart bathrooms are.
Yeah.
Oh, they're. Oh my God. Another thing I wanted to ask you about. So I always try to do some research about the guests we have on the show, and I was doing a little bit of research about you. I saw this in your film credits. I have to ask you, what was that? Tell us about, if you remember, the time you were on the Pirates of the Caribbean movie on Stranger Tides. I saw that you were,
of course,
on there for like you had a supporting role. Yeah.
So I got hired for that, and we were filming out in the Bahamas. It's probably one of the most amazing film experiences I've had, even though I only end up on camera for like, my crotch ends up on camera, I think, more than my face does. We actually carried a dead man's chest under the ship, and there's this huge close-up. It was so funny. We went and saw the premiere in theaters with the whole crew, you know, and we were all laughing so hard because there's this huge close-up of the dead man's chest, but like right beside it is my crotch. So like my crotch is like 36 feet tall, and I think they might pan up in my face later on, but
that's about it, huh?
Yeah. We spent like a month and a half. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's my claim to fame. I'm like, well, they're like, what movies have you done? I'm like, well, my crotch has done Pirates of the Caribbean 3.
You're gonna have to have two sets of credits, huh? One for the crotch and one for Jeremy. So, you know.
I know. I should make an IMDb page for my crotch.
That's funny.
Like
that would be great.
IMDb page for Jeremy King's crotch.
Yeah, Jeremy's crotch. Caribbean 3. No, but that was such an amazing experience. Like we trained with a 1900s weapons expert. So we learned how to shoot muskets. We learned how to fire cannon. It takes 5 people to fire cannons. Awesome. Absolutely insane. So we went out I think we spent 2 weeks training, and then there was some schedule mix up with Johnny Depp, and they were going to send us home for like 2 or 3 weeks, but they were afraid of like sending everybody home, trying to get flights back. So they're like, well, you guys just stay here. So like, they kept us in the Bahamas for like 2 weeks. And we talked the weapons trainer into taking us in every morning to like brush up. So we'd work for like 15, 20 minutes, and they had a full buffet every morning for us. that was probably 30 feet long, like anything you could imagine. So we'd go in for like a half an hour in the morning, stuff our faces, like eat as much as we could because we were getting per diem and stuff for food. And then we would go play volleyball all day. We'd go lobster hunting. So we overall, and then we, you know, when we got back to filming, it was, you know, 12, 16-hour days.
Yeah.
And then we were out in Culver City in California for about another month filming that final scene where the ships are going around each other. And it was in this huge hangar, and they had, you know, the water coming down. But the disgusting part about it was all the water was recycled. So like all the stunt guys and everybody that are like working hard or like sitting there spitting, like it gets washed down in the drains and then it basically pours back on you for a month.
Oh man,
so that was a blast. Yeah, I mean, filming that was absolutely amazing. You know, Keira Knightley really impressed me. Even when the camera wasn't on her, she gave 110%. Like her performance never drifted.
That's awesome.
You know, from when she was on camera to off. Johnny Depp was super cool. He'd always come out and talk to everybody. And but the two that impressed me the most, I don't know if you remember the two soldiers from the first. They played a bigger role in the first one. Angus and Giles were their real names. But when they were off set,
I know.
The skinny guy and the bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like one of my buddies had friends in town, like into the Bahamas to visit him. On their day off, they like took these guys because they were filmmakers. Took them all around set. Like everybody on that set could have been nicer. I mean, it was an absolutely amazing
that's
experience.
awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool. Hangar in Culver City, huh? So I don't think Culver City is the city you want to go check out when you're in California.
Well, we went down to LA a couple times with our friends, and I remember leaving one time at like 4:30 in the afternoon to get back to Culver City. And it was like, this is what real traffic is like.
Yeah, that's
like,
not going to
like, we'll move in like an hour. It'll be fun.
Yeah, traffic is horrible.
But yeah,
California traffic is horrible.
Oh, yeah, traffic in California is like.
That's why I moved out of the LA area. I'm telling you, I live on high desert. I got no traffic.
Pretty bad.
High desert sounds pretty fun actually. But yeah, that was an awesome experience, man. And then the cool thing about it was.
What was that, Brian?
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing, man.
Well, the best part about it was we were in this little town in the Bahamas, in Grand Bahama. So when we had days off, like everybody just went to the square to hang out. You know, Gore Verbinski was there. I made really good friends with Dave Vengus. He was the first AD on that, and he works with Spielberg. He works with. You know, we're still friends to this day. He's awesome. Like, you know, one of the times when I was in California, I actually stayed out there with him for like 2 weeks. You know, he lives like right near Robert De Niro and, you know, right down on the beach. It was so, I mean, the whole experience was just something that, you know, as an actor, you can look at it and say like, oh, I got 0.5 seconds of screen time. But the memories from something like that are you know,
amazing.
Insane. Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, the memories are gonna last forever for you for something like that. I mean, I could imagine working on a big project like that.
Oh, it's crazy.
You know, speaking of projects, Jeremy, tell us about what you've been doing after Scare Package. Like, what have you been up to? What you working on?
Nobody will hire me after Scare Package.
Since you've been doing.
No one, huh? No one.
They saw Scare Package.
Nothing going on. Nothing.
Sorry, buddy. Can't hire you. We saw Scare Package. We just think.
That's funny, man. He's doing guest spots on podcasts. You know, that's.
I know.
It's a hard life. It's a hard life.
It is a hard life after that. No one will hire me. I did. Well, it's funny because I did what ended up being a Lifetime movie. And when we were out at one of the festival, I think when we were out in Telluride, it came out and like my mom called me and she's like, "You were on Lifetime." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And it's a movie called Sinister Seduction, and it's I didn't seduce anyone, but I played a detective that is trying to solve this murder case, and then the kid whose dad gets killed or kills I don't even know.
It's a Lifetime movie, guys. That's how it is.
He loses his dad to suicide because he cheated on his mom with this lady. And then he goes back and seduces the lady. But yeah, it was Tanner Buchanan from Karate Kid, the new Karate Kid show. He plays the bad guy's son. And then Christina Clee.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, Christina Clee played like my friend and the mom that got seduced. So they were pretty cool. And then Paper Street Pictures actually has another movie coming out soon called Pale Door.
Ooh, okay.
And it's a horror western where like these group of bandits basically end up in this small town with what ends up to be a coven of witches. So I only play a small role in that, and that's actually a pretty funny story too. They originally had written in like I was part of the gang, like I was part of the original gang, and they had to switch things around. Like when they were, talking to the, whatever the salespeople and everything else, they wanted more diversity and stuff like that. So my role actually got given to a woman, and she's actually great in it. She's super funny. But they forgot to tell me. So the producer Cameron was supposed to tell me, and then so I'm talking to the director Aaron Coons, and I think it was, I don't remember what the timing of this was. It was before Scare Package came out, and they sent me the script, and they go, "Hey man, read the script. You'll be filming in, whatever it was. I think it was January or February." And I'm like, "Cool." And I remembered my character's name that they had told me before when they were originally writing it. So I'm like reading through. I'm like, "Okay, page 15." I'm like, "Huh, that's weird. Page 30, page 50." And I'm like, I read the whole script, and I'm like, I call him up and go, "Hey man, did you change my character's name or something?" And he goes, "Oh man," he goes, "Can't even tell you." I go, "What?" He goes, "We have to switch your role." And I'm like,
"That's funny."
So I'm in it.
So who am I? Who am I playing?
I know. I got done with the whole part, and I'm like, "Did you guys change my character's name or something? Or like what's?" But no, it really worked out for the best. Like I got to watch some of the stuff on set, and Devin Druid from 13 Reasons Why is starring in it. I'm trying to think who else right now, but it's gonna be awesome. But my role is like this now instead of like this.
They read the whole script trying to figure out, okay, so who am I again?
I know. I got to the end. I'm like,
dude, that's gotta be frustrating. That's gotta be so frustrating.
So what was the name of this movie again? Paper Door? What was that again?
Pale Door.
Pale Door.
Yeah.
And
horror western, huh?
Because it was actually revealed, I think, accidentally in USA Today yesterday that it's coming out on the 21st. So Aaron he goes, "Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. Here's the information about Pale Door." But it's very different than Scare Package. It's dark and a little more serious of a movie, and it's a western.
Yeah, and that's what caught my eye right there. It's a western.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a blast, man.
They need to do what I think Shudder needs to do, what they did with Creepshow, and turn Scare Package into like a mini series.
I totally agree, Shudder.
I would be down with that. Hey man, this man needs work. Give him.
Please, no one else will hire me. Please,
for real, give him. Give him the video store. Just let him have fun.
They saw Scare Package now.
So he can have something to do,
Life's been weird, man. With the shutdown and everything, like nobody's working right now. I mean, that's the crazy thing,
that's got to be rough, man. I was gonna say, like, with the shutdown and everything, it's a hard life for a lot of us right now that are like working and stuff.
I know everybody's affected by it. And, I run a valet parking company too, and we were really hit hard at the same time. And but thank goodness, like we were able to open back up, sort of, and kind of keep going. But like a lot of my friends here in Florida, I mean, they work at Disney, they work at Universal, you know, they have jobs in the parks doing the different shows and stuff like that. And that's all been shut down. They furloughed a lot of people. And so, you know, I think just to be a downer, I wanted to bring that up.
There's a lot of people hurting out there, you know, a lot of people are hurting. Different industries are being hit, as you can see. And, it's just something we got to ride the storm, man. Hopefully it'll be over sooner than later. But just never know.
Funny thing too. I mean, even as an actor, normally it's like that's the number one question people ask you, like, oh, what do you have coming up? And it's so funny because you could have nothing on your plate, and then like TV shows will, I mean, they cast like the week before. Like you'll have your audition usually by tape now. You'll have your callback, and then you're filming that week. Like, so you don't know what's coming. You never know what's around the corner. Even with bigger films for smaller roles, it's not a 6-month out process. It's usually a week or two, you know? So that's that's the most interesting thing when people ask you what you have coming up. You're like, I have no idea. Ask me a couple of weeks from now and I might know, you know?
I didn't know that the turnaround was that quickly. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You know, like the main roles, of course, with the A-list actors, they're going to have 6 months notice, 7 months notice, but everything else is basically like, you do the audition, you go to callback, and it's usually like the very next week you're filming. And I still don't know exactly why they do that. Maybe to make sure people are available or that they don't get booked on something else. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that turnaround time is just so quick. It's like, oh, you want this job? Okay, cool. You're in on Tuesday. And then come on in.
It's nuts. You know? Yeah. I mean, commercials. You'll have a commercial that's being developed for 6 months, like a SAG National, let's say. Big commercial, $3 million budget. And they'll literally cast you like 4 days before they shoot. It's like, you know, your agent will call you and say, oh, can you make it at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for an audition? And it's like, you got to switch around your whole day just to go in on it. And it's like, you'd think on a bigger project, they could give you like 3 days notice or a week or something like that, but that's just the way the industry is. So, you know, I think that's the most interesting thing that people probably don't realize in general. Yeah.
I didn't know that turnaround time is just pretty insane to have to work that way, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's nuts.
Wow. That's insane. That's insane, man. Like, yeah, we're definitely entering into we've been in some really strange times right now. Watching like shows like Jimmy Fallon having to do their show from home. Weird, you know, right? Like, I mean, it's been really. I think that's kind of funny. That's something that I think Victor and I talked about last time. Is that you're watching these people who are so used to all big production, all these cameras and fancy equipment that are thousands of dollars, and now they're having to do their shows from home, where it's like how we're doing it right now.
Yeah,
we don't have like.
We're talking about bare bones productions here, you know.
Well, and you realize what production value makes, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you really do, because you look at some of these shows and you're like, oh, well, that's just like everybody else now. Like when you see them on their regular shows with the high production value, you're like, man, these people are amazing. And then you see them from their houses doing it, and you're like, oh, well, they do really good editing, and they have a lot of, you know, special effects and music and audience, and you know. So
it's a good point. It's a good point to bring up, because it definitely shows you how much the content comes from the creator as opposed to the group or from the production, you know?
Yeah.
And it's one of those deals where, not to name out any names, but looking at some of these shows that come out now being done from home, not as good as, you know, when you see them from the studio.
Oh,
so,
of course.
You know, just some 2 cents out there, which I think it's intriguing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's been really interesting, though. I mean, you actually have to get used to it watching it, too, because, you know, I know like last week tonight, it's so strange for him to, you know, be throwing out the jokes, and he just throws out a joke. Like, even you can tell even the hosts had to get used to like not hearing after they throw out. You just got to be weird. I mean, it's got to be weird, because you just don't know if things are landing, or if, you know, even on a movie set, even on, you know, something like Scare Package, you know, you have 10, 20 crew behind the cameras. So if a scene is funny, like you'll know it right when you shoot it because you'll see the reaction of everybody around, you know. But that's got to be weird, like a bubble like that, where you're just like, I think that last joke was funny, but I have no idea.
I hope I was funny.
I hope that landed. I hope that was good. Now, I think the first time it really hit me that, you know, production is going to be different and shows are going to be different was I walked in on my father-in-law watching WWE, WWF, whatever it's called now.
Totally going in a different direction.
Yeah. And the funny part about that was I saw someone in the ring and they're talking to the audience, but there's no audience. So I'm like, it looks like they're still doing their speeches, but there's no one there. So I'm like, is this work? Is that going to work for them? Are they doing it for the people at home? Like it was a different experience. You're so used to seeing the crowd go, yell and scream and boo, and there was no one there, but they're still doing it. So it's kind of like, all right, so that's weird. That's just different.
Like I know you down in Florida. They're start the NBA playoffs here in like a week or so, and that's gonna be weird to watch, like basketball with no crowd, like cheering.
All you're gonna hear is like the stuff's on the floor, like when you're watching
all the court. Yep.
Yeah. I hope those players.
Even that. You know, I think the players, you know, what comes out of their mouth is really gonna come out. You know. And you know that's some colorful commentary when they speak to each other. So
yeah, you hear some of the stories, like, you know, how Jordan used to talk smack to people or like walk up to people at the, you know, free throw line and, you know, just whisper something in their ear. That would actually be kind of fun to hear all that. They should actually.
I think, to be honest with you, I think so too.
It probably couldn't be.
You get live. A different perspective.
I'm excited about. Dude, I'm excited about football. I can't wait to hear those guys get tackled, man. Like, it's gonna be so obvious when they get hit. It's gonna hurt, and then and of course the trash talk too. I wonder how they're gonna like. I mean, there's this thing you can't say on like nationally. That's
the only way I see that playing out now is that it's not gonna be live. You're gonna have like a 5-second delay with some push button person, you know.
It would have
beeping out everything. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, right. So, hey, that's how it's gonna be. Beep, 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 beep. That's it.
Yeah, just telegraph.
Yeah.
Morse code coming through, huh?
So I've got a question from a fan of yours.
My mom
wants to know.
Is my mom?
It's your mom. No.
My mom finds in a different name and asks questions. I don't really have any fans.
He's a good friend of our streams. He's the guy that edits our YouTube. Wanted to know.
It's my mom.
What's your favorite horror film that you have not starred in?
My favorite.
I've not starred in, huh? Can't pick your stuff, man.
You have not starred in. Because we know if we included the movies you'd star in, you would just say something you would start in.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's so funny because growing up, I think Nightmare on Elm Street was probably the scariest as far as from the standpoint of like, I remember we used to have like sleepovers and stuff and watch those.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like other horror movies where you can like hide under your sheets and go to sleep, right? Because that's where he gets you.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
But it was really interesting. Like, I rented it or I bought it the other night, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I watched it with my son, who's 6. Great parenting. But I was like, why was I so afraid of this?
Yeah. No, I hear you, man.
Specifically, the scene where he's like coming out of the wall over the girl, like on her bed. That gave me nightmares for like a very long time.
Yeah.
And then another movie that gave me nightmares was my dad took me to see Aliens in the theater when I was in 2nd grade, and I will never forget this because my mom was like, "He can't go see that movie. You know, it's gonna give him nightmares." And I'm like, "Mom, it's not gonna give me nightmares. I'm not scared of anything." And we had just moved into a new house. My bedroom was like on the street. Oh my God, dude. I came home that night and every dream I had was like the aliens scurrying up the yard, like getting into my room. Like And I wouldn't go to my parents. I knew I would never get to go see another movie again with my dad. So I'm just like,
I can't say it.
Yeah.
I can't tell my parents about trying to kill me. I gotta,
It's like, Dad, give me some coffee. I'm exhausted.
That's funny, man.
It's like, son, you're 9 years old.
So, you'll be okay. You'll be fine.
I'll ask you this. We'll go the other way with that question. What are some of your favorite like comedies you watched growing up? As what are some of your favorite comedies that you that really stand out to you that you watch?
Man, well, I don't know about growing up. I don't remember. Like, I don't
or just in general.
I don't know if I
like your favorite comedy.
I mean, anything with Will Ferrell. Zoolander is probably one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
I remember in acting class, I used to do the Zoolander scenes all the time, just because they're not only fun to watch, they're fun to perform. It's like just that level of ridiculousness. Dodgeball. I remember I had an audition in Orlando, and I had like 4 hours before another audition. I didn't want to drive home, and I went and saw Super Troopers. I had no idea what it was, but I'm like, I'm killing time, and that was probably one of the single funniest, like, unexpected movies that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And, those guys were just like, everything they did in that movie was just hilarious, and then I think they got a bunch of money for the movies they did afterwards, and we're just like, how can we write a script and go be on an island with a bunch of girls? Like, let's write this horror comedy. And it was kind of weird. The Broken Lizard guys, like the movies they came out with, like after that, were just kind of like, you could tell they were just like, well, they want to give us a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it, man. Have
fun.
What
about you? What's your favorite horror movies? What's your favorite comedy movie?
Oh, I want to go first on this one. Speaking of Dad, back when you were a kid, man.
Okay, go ahead.
One of the ones that got me when I was a child, man, was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That one got me, man. I was a kid watching that with my dad back in the day. And when you were talking about, man, you shouldn't be showing your 6-year-old this stuff. I'm right there, buddy. I can't see those straws, popped into candy cane, not candy canes, cotton candy anymore, because it kind of freaks me out. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that movie is whack.
It is. Which is on Netflix, by the way. I think I just saw that on Netflix not too long ago. So
it's on Netflix. It's been on there for a long time.
Yeah, that's right.
I would say for me, for horror movies, so I'll say this: it's 2 for me. The first horror movie I ever saw was Candyman.
Nice.
And Tony, I've always been a big fan of Tony Todd. That guy's amazing. I think he's coming back for Candyman in the remake.
Yeah, that's what I hear too.
Which does look pretty interesting. I'm definitely gonna check that out. But I'll tell you one that really stuck with me. It was when my aunt took me to go see Child's Play 3 when I was 5 years old. And I remember her telling me, "Hey, we're gonna go see a movie. You can't tell your mom because your mom will beat my ass." That was her words. If I take you to go see this flick. So we went, and I had no idea. I'm 6. I don't know what the hell I'm watching, right? But I remember, I'll never forget. Spoiler alert: if you have not seen Child's Play 3, but at the very end of the movie, Chucky gets pushed, and he's flying down into a fan, right at the very end. And I remember being in the theater and laughing so loud, like that was the funniest thing to me as a 6-year-old, seeing this doll that's just murdering everybody. I would laugh too when I was watching him kill people. That that's what happens before you start killing your mid-30s. No, anyway, but I'll never forget going to see Child's Play 3 in theater. That was so funny because I never forget laughing my ass off.
I still like
Chucky.
I still actually remember
backwards into a fan
where they slice the person's Achilles from under the.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You guys remember that from the first Child's Play? That gave me nightmares.
I do.
Yeah.
I always leave my feet very far from the bed when I.
With the that's right. It's like the scalpel, right? Yeah, I remember seeing that back in first, second grade.
Yeah, man.
Hello.
So yeah.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, KJ?
Hey, KJ.
Children of the Corn was my. Grew up on a farm. Thought it was a good idea.
We were having technical difficulties.
All right, guys. Brian, Victor, if you can hear me, can you give out your social media where we can find you and all of that good stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can find the Dragoncast at over on Twitter at _ the Dragoncast. And we always let everybody know all of our new episodes. All of our new episodes are on every Monday. Video versions are on YouTube every Monday when we have a video version. And then, of course, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Music, and then SoundCloud. And you can go find us on all of those various places to listen to our show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Jeremy, very much for being a part of Virtual Popcon as well. It was a lot of fun to listen to you guys last hour. We appreciate it.
It was very fun, man. Nice talking to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe next time we can do this in actual in-person setting. We would love that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
In person, yeah. That'd be awesome.
All right, guys.
Absolutely.
I think we'll be back there.
All right, we are
Thank you.
continuing on. Thank you, Jim.